It's white wine time again.
Yay! Ooh, that means it's my time because white wine is my time.
That's right. And today we're going to be drinking a white wine from a part of Italy that's off the beaten path.
Ooh, bring your hiking boots.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. We are on an Italian wine adventure to learn about and taste a wine called Verdicchio.
Oh, how ridiculous.
No, and it's going to be hot.
Oh, no. We
Not
want
the wine. Not
okay,
the wine.
good. I'll say I don't want
just
hot
like
white wine.
Hot, like exciting.
Oh, okay. It's going to be hot.
Hello, and welcome to the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of reasonably priced wine, and this is my wife and my wine pairing partner in crime, Carmela.
Hi there.
And we are the Wine Pair. Okay, a quick orientation for those of you who may be new to the podcast. In each episode, we learn about and taste and give our honest review of 3 wines that are reasonably priced, which means under $20 each and should be easy for you to find. And we talk about what foods pair with that wine too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and our podcast, Carmela, it's made for people who want to learn more about wine or find new wines to enjoy and really just want someone to talk about wine in a fun way that regular people can understand and use in their daily lives.
Ooh, I'd like to listen to that.
Me too. I wish I was listening. So if that sounds like you, you're in the right place.
Yay!
And we are proud to say that we are recommended by the editors of Decanter Magazine, who call us fun, irreverent,
Chatty,
and entertaining.
Wow. Whoa, you just
Yeah.
about busted into song there.
Okay, well, Carmela, it's been a couple of months, but this week we are going back on an Italian wine adventure.
Wow.
And it's almost the next best thing to actually taking a trip to
I'm
Italy
still
to have a
waiting.
real life adventure.
I'm waiting.
I know, me too. It's almost the same. Okay, but this time we are going to take a trip to the Marche region of Italy, which is a place neither of us have been.
No, I don't even know if I've really heard much about it.
No, and well, we're going to learn a tiny bit about it because it's kind of interesting.
Okay.
But this is another place now after learning about it. I'm putting it on our list. And there's a huge list of places that we
Wow.
want to go just in Italy alone, let alone all the other places in Europe and Asia and Africa and South America and all the other places in Australia, New
There's
Zealand.
so many places, honey. We got a lot more. We need more years. We
We got to get moving.
Yes.
Okay, so Carmela, as you asked, no, you didn't really ask, but Marche, it's on the central east coast of Italy, and it's one of the least known and least visited areas of Italy, at least by Americans.
Okay, Central East Coast.
Yeah, so
I'm
it's
just
kind of like Rome,
visualizing it.
but
right.
over,
Okay.
right?
So it's a coastal town?
It's a region. It's it is
Marche
on the
is
coast.
the actual region.
It's the region.
Okay,
yeah.
and it's on that region that was on the coast.
Yes.
Oh.
Its capital city and its largest city is called Ancona. And
Ancona,
it has 100,000 people, so it's not a huge city, which is probably one of the reasons why we're not that familiar with it. And maybe the most famous city in Marche is called Urbino. Urbino is a Renaissance-era city, but actually dates all the way back to the Roman Empire and before. So,
Wow.
yeah, so super cool.
ancient.
So now, Carmela, if you want to go somewhere in Italy where you're not going to run into a lot of American tourists,
Maybe you go to Marche.
that's right, and you want to see a relatively unspoiled version of Italian culture,
Maybe you go to Marche.
and if you like to visit beaches,
Marche!
and you will like to shop for shoes,
Marche?
Marche
really?
may be your spot.
My
And if you
goodness.
want to meet tourists from other parts of Europe, like people from Germany or the Netherlands or the UK, and you want to do you want to do Italy on a little bit of a budget, you may really like Marche.
Really? Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, Marche.
Yeah, in fact, some articles, and I have some links in the show notes, have called it Tuscany without all the tourists and tourist traps. So that's kind of cool. It's supposed to be very
wow.
beautiful and
So no,
just
it's
but
not-
underrated.
It's a little undiscovered. Then.
Undiscovered because there's no really huge towns or huge centers, and we just don't talk about it.
And you don't hear people being from that area
Not
too.
really. Not well, but it's not a super populated area. Like it's very agricultural, and I mean the biggest town is 100,000
Yeah,
people, right?
right,
So
right.
now I know we're here, Carmela, to talk about wine.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about a pretty well-known white wine that comes from the Marche region called Verdicchio. And we're going to do that in a few minutes. But I do want to talk about the shoes.
Yeah.
And as Spike Lee would say, money, it's got to be the shoes. That's what he said
Fully agree.
to Michael Jordan. Okay. Now,
Fully agree.
according to a website called Wonderful Marche, which feels like it should be pretty much the authority on Marche, they claim that Marche is the birthplace of Italian shoes.
Really? Really?
Yes. And of course, many people believe that the best shoes in the world
Come from Italy.
That's right. And people like us would say that pretty much the best of everything related to food and wine and fashion and culture and language comes from Italy. That's right. But that's another story.
Okay.
So evidently, you can still find craftsmen or craftspeople, I should say, who make shoes by hand in Marche.
Wow.
But there are some very well-known shoe companies in Marche.
Okay, I was curious.
Yeah, if you know something
of the
about
big ones?
fancy shoes, which I don't. So I'm going to see if you know these. Have you heard of Cesare Paciotti?
No.
Okay, well, those shoes come from Marche, and I looked online, and on their website, they have shoes that are over $1,100.
That's why I haven't heard of them.
That's right. Another one is called Todd's. Have you heard of Todd's shoes?
No.
Okay, well, they also come from Marche, and I saw women's loafers. I was going to get them for you for Christmas, but you get mad because they're over $1,300.
That's
loafers.
why I haven't heard of them.
Loafers.
Okay, no.
Yeah,
and
like a
for
penny
women.
loafer. Yeah. And then there's another one called Hogan's, which is a
These
weird name.
names,
I know
yeah,
Todd's and Hogan's doesn't seem Italian, but that's another shoe company.
There's probably a lot of people out there who are like, oh,
exactly.
I'm wearing
They're
them.
like, you guys are dumb.
Yeah.
You don't know this. But they have tennis shoes.
Remember, we are the reasonably priced wine gurus.
You beat me to the punch.
Yeah.
But they have tennis shoes at Hogan's that are over $500.
Oh, well.
Which for some people would not be that expensive.
Right.
But for you and me, that's like 27 pairs of shoes.
Because we just, and it's mainly because we just penny pinch.
We're cheap. Okay.
But that makes sense, right?
And we're shoe peasants. I will say
we're not big on shoes.
We're not. I mean, I love shoes. I love shoes, but I'm not going to pay a lot of money, except for my Brooks running shoes. But that's
right.
it.
But we spend about 90% of the time at home too.
True.
In our very fancy house shoes.
That's right.
So who needs Todd's and Hogan's?
That's right. And by the way, these are shoes that I've never heard of and probably will never buy. And you're right. They will never be on the podcast. And we are just not the kind of people who buy those shoes.
Priced.
That's right. No, definitely not.
No.
But you know what? If you're looking for those shoes, you're not looking for reasonably priced shoes.
Our wine.
But if you're looking for the best shoes in the world, you do want to go to Italy. And Marche is your place.
Wow.
But we're not here to talk about shoes
True.
from Marche. We're here to talk about wine from Marche. And again, we're going to learn about and taste and review this white wine from Marche called Verdicchio. And we have 3
You like to say that.
Verdicchio
Have you been
wines.
practicing that
Yes,
all
totally. Just wait till we get to the
Have you
names
been
of the
waking
wines
up
because I
with that
can't
in
say
your
them.
brain?
I've been saying Verdicchio.
You're waking up like,
under,
oh my God, Verdicchio.
under my breath.
Verdicchio.
Carmela.
No,
Verdicchio.
no.
Anyway, and then we're going to see if there's any of these 3 Verdicchio wines that we would recommend for you to try. And we'll do that in a minute. But first,
You got to do our shameless plug.
that's right. So we want to thank you for listening to us and supporting our show. And if you haven't had the chance to do so yet, now would be the perfect
How
time.
did that become my line? I can't.
I don't know. I don't know because it works. But now would be the perfect time to subscribe to our podcast as a free way to support us. And a huge thank you to all of you who have subscribed already. We truly, truly, truly appreciate you. As Thanksgiving is coming, we are thankful
We
for
have
you.
much gratitude for you.
That's right. And another great way to support us for free is to leave a nice rating and review on our website or on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. And we really appreciate it. We got a nice review this last week. Well, they gave us 4 stars out of 5 instead of 5. But that's okay. We're not going to, it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
And you can also follow us and see pictures of the wines we're tasting and trying today on Instagram at the Wine Pair Podcast. And you can contact us on our website at thewinepairpodcast.com. And there, Carmela, you can sign up
For your fabulous
newsletter.
Did you notice I said your?
No, that was weird. And by the way, if you're still looking for a great turkey pot pie recipe, I will just email me and I will send you the latest version and you can get that TPP recipe.
The latest version? You have updated your version?
No, the latest version
the
was
newsletter.
the
I thought you
November.
meant like of your turkey.
No, it's the same. No, it's the same.
What are the updates, huh?
Okay. Anyway, no,
Dark
I don't.
meat
No.
instead of light?
Nope.
Okay.
And as we do every week, we'll tell you someone we think you should tell about the Wine Pair Podcast. That's us. And this week, we want you to tell anyone who wants to visit Italy but wants to go someplace off the beaten path and doesn't want to spend a fortune. And then we think you should tell them about this episode and let them know that if you can't visit Italy, this podcast and this episode, and in fact, all of our Italian Wine Adventure episodes are the next best thing
It's
to
like
going to
it's
Italy.
nearly like being there.
That's right.
Pretty close.
And
I'd say pretty close.
We are Italian Americans.
Okay,
That's
That's
close
what,
too.
what
right?
else do you want? Non-speaking Italian.
That's right. We don't speak Italian.
But I have to say, what about
But I can say Verdicchio.
Oh, very well.
Yeah.
But I have to say too, what if you notice somebody wearing nice shoes?
Nice shoes. You
really
said
nice-
nice shoes.
nice
If you
shoes.
see somebody
Nice
with
shoes.
Todd's shoes or Hogan's shoes, you
but
say,
even besides,
hey,
you just see somebody with a nice shoe, that'll direct your attention
say-
to them and you say, you need to go to
that's
Marquet.
much better than mine.
And then you say,
I
and while
should
you're
have
there
said a
looking for
shoe horse.
shoes,
Yeah.
I want you to listen to this podcast.
You're so right.
I just,
fucked that one up. I fucked it up.
out of all these episodes,
I screwed
one
it up.
time it's come to me. One time.
You're so much better than me.
It's so much.
Oh,
No,
my
not
God.
at all. That's why I'm laughing at one time.
Okay,
But
can
don't
we
you
get?
think?
Yes, we've established. You're
Okay.
right. Tell the shoe horse that you know that they
Trying
should
to get
be.
a little credit for
You're
once
getting
here.
credit. You're getting extra credit. Okay, Carmela, I think we should find out just what the Verdicchio is.
Yes.
But it is a wine that we have had a few times.
Okay.
But the question we really want to answer today is, will it become a new go-to wine or not? Because that's always the question, especially when it's a white wine. Is it going to be a new go-to?
Right.
Now, Carmela, Verdicchio is a white wine grape and a white wine, but there is a hint in the name to what the color of the wine can sometimes be.
Green.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got it,
I
because
told you I
verde-
speak a little Italian.
That's right. Verde is green, so Verdicchio.
See.
Yeah. And icchio means icky. No, I don't know what it means. Okay, so
Old.
maybe no, it doesn't.
No,
okay,
that
so
would be oak. No, I know.
I don't know. That's I.
Green
okay,
eye.
I don't know. So, but according to a website that I have a link to in our show notes, if you go to this episode on our website, you can find that article. But Verdicchio has been around for a long time, even though for many people it may seem to be a new wine.
Isn't Verdicchio, isn't that a type of cabbage?
Oh, this is what happens.
I know,
We just
but
go
I
down.
think that it is.
Yes, and this is not
but
a cabbage.
I think it's purple.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, and it has radicchio, not verdicchio.
I know, but that's why
can we
I
get
know
back
that, but
can
I was
we
thinking
please,
the Icchio part
please,
of it. I was
can we
trying.
okay,
I was
you got
trying
your
to
credit.
figure-
You're done. Now you're going
No.
to get put in the corner.
Look, you've
okay,
got
listen.
me. You've piqued my curiosity.
Oh my God.
Aren't
Anyway.
you curious about Icchio? Okay, forget it. Go back. I'm listening.
Okay, so Verdicchio, it has been produced in the Marche region since the 7th century. And today it's designated as a DOC wine, which means that it's an officially recognized wine and region. But interestingly, different than a lot of Italian wines, the wine is actually named for the varietal rather than the region. Because a lot of times in Italy and France and Spain, they name the wine for the region.
Right.
But no, this time it's named for the varietal. Now, on the other hand, in a story similar to many Italian wines, starting in the 1960s, the production quality of Verdicchio started to get a little bit better when winemakers started to focus more on how good their wine should be rather than how much they could make. So we've heard this story many times. Italian wines, a lot of times they got really popular and they tried to push a lot into different markets, and then the quality went down, and then the reputation got bad, and they had to spend a lot of time trying to get the reputation up. But this one, still not a super well-known wine, but the quality has been good since the 60s, so that's good. Now, like a lot of white wines that we like, a good Verdicchio should have some flavors and aromas of citrus and apple and pear and tropical fruit, and even have a little bitterness on it.
Right.
And we actually like that. And it's a high acid wine, and it's supposed to pair really well with food.
Nice.
And it is, though, Carmela, sometimes oaked. And so this may be a wine, an alternative wine for people who like an oaky Chardonnay. That's not usually what we like, but we may be finding a wine here. And one of the wines that we have, at least one of the wines we have today, is oaked.
Okay.
So we'll see if it's like, hey, this could be a good option for the Chardonnay.
If we're having
the
a
oaky
couple
Chardonnay.
over, or
That's right.
a group of people who are Chardonnay lovers.
That's right.
And we can, we can do something for them.
That's right. We can do it for them.
And
not all
we
about
might
me.
enjoy it too.
We might. We're going to find that out tonight.
Okay.
So there are different levels of Verdicchio wine. There's a Riserva and a Superiore, and these are often oaked. And these are also said to be white wines that can be stored for decades. Wow. So that's unusual for a white wine. Like, we're used to white wines being ones you just pull off the shelf and put in the fridge and drink. But these are wines that can be aged. And in fact, some people say in general, this is a white wine that should age for, 3 to 5 years before
that's
you even have
interesting.
it. Yeah.
Are you aging these in a cellar or keeping them in like a wine fridge?
Well,
or-
I would want to keep it in either
fridge,
someplace
probably,
cool.
yeah.
But a cellar should be cool too,
Okay.
right? You want it to be someplace cool. But I one article that I have a link to in the show notes called Verdicchio, a lazy wine, because it takes a while to mature. Now, Verdicchio, again, for those big, bold Chardonnay lovers, it is supposed to be a bigger bodied white wines, which is one of the reasons why I thought it would be fun to do an episode on this now, because we're in fall, we're going into winter. And sometimes those bigger bodied wines are better in winter, they're a little warmer, they go with some of those foods. So anyway, so this is not going to be your typical sort of light, uncomplicated Italian Pinot Grigio. This is a different kind of wine. It's supposed to be more complex. In fact, Forbes calls it one of Italy's greatest wines.
Wow.
And some have called it the best Italian white wine. Some have called it the king of white wines. And some have even called it a red wine disguised as a white wine.
Oh my goodness.
So this will be a really interesting wine.
Very interesting. Yeah. So do you see this on menus ever?
You will find it, but it's not going to be the most common wine, right? If you go to a big Italian restaurant with a good wine list, they're going to have it. Okay. If you go to a wine shop that has a good Italian wine section, you're going to find it. But you're not going to find it at your local grocery store. Okay. No, you're not going to find it there. Now, there are actually two main Verdicchio wines, both from Marche, but they're a little different because the soil and the altitude are different. So there's Verdicchio dei Castelli di Jesi, which is named after the town in eastern Marche called Jesi. It's Jesi. And this one is close to the Adriatic Sea. And the other is called Verdicchio di Metallica. It looks like Metallica to me, but it's Metallica. Wow. And this region is farther inland and to the south and west of Jesi, and is a much smaller area, and it's about a tenth of the size of Jesi. And Jesi is lower altitude, closer to the sea, so the sea can kind of temper the warmth sometimes. Okay. The soil is supposed to be very clay, which also helps to keep temperatures down. And in Metallica, the soil, I hope I'm saying that right, the soil is supposed to be more calcareous, which means that it has a lot of limestone. And these soils are actually said to retain heat better. So these could be kind of different wines.
Yeah,
one a little cooler, one a little warmer. And the impact,
fun to compare.
Yeah, well, and the impact of heat around wine grapes can create lower acidity and more sugar, which often means more alcohol. And these are relatively high alcohol wines for white wines too. Okay. So, and then one really interesting thing I read in one of the articles is that some people say Verdicchio is not more well-known or well-regarded because it's not expensive enough.
I wondered.
Yeah, so even we have a wine today that decanter rated a 95, and it's under $20.
Oh my.
So I think that's kind of interesting because we often
Just
think
what
like
we love.
We do, well, that's
High
exactly
rating.
right. So I think people tend to think, oh, more expensive means better. Verdicchio tends to not be a super expensive wine, but this is the perfect, like you said, this is the perfect wine for our podcast and our audience.
And our refrigerator.
Because it's not super expensive. It's actually, all the wines are under $20 and they get good ratings and high. It's supposed to be high. I mean, this is supposed to be the king of Italian white wines.
I can't get over that.
So
we're going to see.
Well, how about we talk about the wines that we're going to taste today? What do you say? Okay, because we need to get to drinking this stuff.
Right.
We can't just talk about it.
No, that's no fun.
No, we got to drink it.
That'd be boring.
Now, again, as usual, all the wines we've chosen are under $20, and all of them should be relatively easy to find because I got them all at wine.com. And again, as we talked about, Verdicchio may not be the easiest wine to find, but if you go to a big wine shop, especially one with a good Italian wine section, you're going to find it. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, two of these wines have professional ratings. One, a 95 from Decanter, so we'll talk about that. And one also has a rating from James Suckling.
Oh, boy.
Suckling.
What did he do? Give him a 90?
I don't know. Who cares? Anyway.
I'm going to slap a 90 on it.
Slap it.
No.
And then we do have one wine from Metallica or whatever region, and two from the JC region. So we'll have a good mix, too. We'll be able to see, is there a difference? At least a little bit, we'll be able to see if there's a difference. So the first wine we're going to be tasting today, this is a tongue twister. It's the 2021 Velanosi Querciantica Verdicchio Castelli de Jesi Classico.
Wow.
And this got a 90 rating from James Suckling, but it also got some high 80 ratings from Vinous, Wine Enthusiast, and Wine Spectator. And those are all ones that I really trust. So, and high 80 ratings, I know people are also like, oh, if it's under 90, I don't know. A high 80 rating is a very good wine.
And depending on who's rating it,
True.
What their track record is on rating, I feel
like a 90 from James Suckling might as well be a 27 on Wine Spectator.
Oh my God, true.
Now, there were actually quite a few write-ups about this wine, but I had a little trouble finding out too much about how it's produced, but I finally found it on a website called Call Me Wine. It's called Call Me Wine.
Hey, wine.
Yeah, and they say that the winery vinifies completely in stainless steel, so no oak on this one.
Okay.
At least that's what they say. And they also say this Quercintica refers to a specific vineyard that's about 300 feet above sea level, and they harvest the grapes by hand when they're slightly overripe.
Oh.
So that's kind of interesting. So it's going to have more sugar in it when you let it ripen a long time, and has 13% alcohol. So it's pretty high alcohol for a white wine. Right. We're used to white wines in that 12% range. So 13, it doesn't sound like that much, but it's
kind of a party wine.
It's a party dog wine.
You can stretch it a little bit.
Woohoo! Yeah, get busy. What? Okay. Anyway.
Stretching wine.
Wow. Okay, let's not talk about stretching anymore. Okay, so the next wine we're tasting is called the 2021 Garofoli Supera Verdicchio di Metallica, or Metallica. And I really couldn't find any professional reviews on this one, and it was a little hard to find a ton of information on it until I really started digging around. But evidently, the Garofoli winery makes most of their wines actually in the JC region. And this is their first wine from the Metallica region. And I hope I'm saying that right.
Okay, one more time.
I guess.
I hope you are.
Now, the winery says that they handpick the grapes and they soft press them, which I feel like you probably should do.
Yeah,
hard press. You're like, you really just squeeze the shit out of those grapes.
Well, they used to stomp on grapes, though.
You're right.
So, a human body.
That's not soft. Especially not mine. Well, mine's soft in places, but you wouldn't want to be stepped on by me. It wouldn't feel soft. In fact, the other day I stepped on your mom's foot, and I thought she was going to fly through the roof.
My mom?
Yeah.
What? I wasn't there. Was I
Yes. Yeah, we were going into we were going to sit down at the play that we went to see our niece in, and I stepped on her foot. She went, "Oh."
Poor thing. Well, one good thing is she didn't say anything the next day about it. She wasn't
soft pressed, that wine. Okay, anyway, they ferment these grapes at low temperatures in stainless steel tanks for 5 months. So again, no oak on this wine.
I'm not looking at you and I'm saying, no, next, because I want somebody with the soft press. Okay.
Oh boy. I stepped on her with my expensive Italian shoes, though. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were a grape.
Oh, God. This is getting worse. Okay. We're going to see how this wine, but this is our one wine from the Metallica region. Okay. And so we're going to see what that is. Now, the last wine we're going to be drinking today, it's a 2018. So the last two have been 2021. So it's a 2018. So it's been aged, properly aged, 5 years, right? And it's called Bucci, B-U-C-C-I. Remember in Italian.
Bucci.
No, a C-I is a ch. Yeah. Bucci Verdicchio.
No, C-I is chi.
Chi. What did I say?
You said cha.
Che. Well, same thing. Whatever. And Verdicchio has a CH. In Italian, a CH is a hard K. Right?
That's right.
So, Bucci Verdicchio Classico dei Castelli di Jesi. And this one has really high ratings. This is the one that got the 95 from Decanter. And again, that's kind of outrageous for a wine that's under $20.
Yeah.
And this wine has been sold at a website called Wine Access that I really like because they tend to have specialty wines. They don't sell at super low prices, but sometimes they'll have some kind of good wines at a good deal. Anyway, this wine is definitely oaked.
Okay.
It is aged in large old oak barrels. And so this, again, could be the wine that like your cousin or other people who like an oaky Chardonnay or Chardonnay Shay may really like. And even though that's not really the style of wine we like, we're going to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of people we are.
We are open-minded.
We're not going to step on its foot.
No.
And this is supposed to be a wine, again, that ages. The grapes are said to be 100% organically farmed. They don't use herbicides or pesticides. And here's an interesting story. Ampelio Bucci, who's both the owner and winemaker of this wine, not only makes highly rated wines, but he's also known as the professor because he taught fashion in Milan at the university level and worked for more than 20 years in the fashion industry in Milan.
Okay, that's
Isn't that
crazy.
bizarre?
Wow. Does he make shoes?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like he at least knows a lot about shoes.
That's amazing.
He was a professor of fashion.
Wow.
And he makes highly rated wines. What else do you want?
I want to meet this guy.
And the Bucci family, his family, the Buccis. You know, the Buccis.
Hey, the Buccis.
They've been making wines in the Marche region since the 1700s.
Wow.
So these are people that have been making wine in this region for a long time. What do we do? We do a podcast. That's what we do.
Louise.
Okay. Anyway, so I that's enough talking. We have 3 Verdicchio wines. There's a few with good ratings, one that's oaked, one from a different region in Marche. And so I'm excited to try and taste these wines. And if you have a Verdicchio with you or you have a white wine, pop it open, participate like Carmela participates in the podcast, and do it along with us.
And if you have some Verdicchio, you can have a nice little Verdicchio salad with your Verdicchio.
We'll be right back.
All right.
Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our first Verdicchio. This is the Velenosi Quercintica Verdicchio Castelli di Jesi Classico. It's from Marche, Italy, as they all will be. This is a 2021, so it's a little younger, but again, this is not oaked. It was $17.99 at wine.com, 13% alcohol, 100% Verdicchio as far as we know. This is the one that James Suckling gave a 90, but Vinius gave it an 89, Wine Enthusiast gave it an 89, and Wine Spectator gave it an 88, and those are good ratings. Mm-hmm. So what are you smelling, Carmeling?
I think it's nice. I'm smelling some kind of like an apple cobbler. Mm-hmm. There's some baking spice on it too.
Smell a little bitterness on this.
Okay.
A little bit almost nutty.
Oh, a little
but
bit.
Apple, like apple.
I'm getting it, definitely apple, but kind of like a baked apple or stewed apple.
I'm getting a little tropical fruit. To me, this smells a little bit Sauvignon Blanc. It has a Sauvignon Blanc kind of smell, but the bitterness on it is a little bit different.
It's nice.
Mm-hmm. It smells really nice. Mm-hmm. Should we?
Let's try it.
I will say one thing about it. It's pretty in the glass. It almost seems thicker.
Yes, almost like maybe that's where I'm getting kind of more of a stewed apple. Like it's almost a little syrupy looking. It's dark.
Yeah. Like I'm like even looking, it looks thick. Like it doesn't look like a Pinot Grigio.
No.
Okay, let's try it.
Okay. Ooh, it's not very appley.
Oh, to me, it's very like pineapple.
Yeah.
Like tropical fruit flavor. It's got a lot of tropical fruit. It's reminding me of an unoaked Chardonnay. And spice at the end. I really got baking spices at the end. I really got like cinnamon or clove, maybe clove or allspice at the end of it.
Yeah. But I was I was smelling so much apple, but maybe a little more sweetness. This is definitely, it's got a little tang. Mm-hmm. It's got that tropical fruit.
A little citrus, a little tiny bit of citrus, like lime, so. but like a lime rind almost, like a little bit like that. Because it does have a little bitterness.
The bitterness coming through. Ooh.
It's nice. It's a nice wine.
I like it.
It is a little bit, to me, this is a little bit more of a winter or fall wine, white wine, because it does have a little bit of body to it.
It does.
It's not, again, this is different than a Pinot Grigio.
Definitely. And it feels
some
a little,
weight.
Yeah, I would say a little thicker, fuller in the mouth than it did, like if you're drinking a Pinot Grigio.
To me, this might be a wine, like if you really like a German wine, like a Riesling or a Gewürztraminer, you might like this wine.
Mm-hmm. It's nice.
Because it's got some depth, it's got some body, some complexity to it. Mm-hmm. But it also, again, the fruitiness, so I'm liking that it's not oaked, but again, that's kind of the way we like things. But I even think for people who like an oaky Chardonnay, they might like this because of the body. Because it does have this body on it.
Right.
And I will say we are serving this very cold, like it's been in the fridge. I almost wonder how it changes if it's a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
Like rather than fridge cold, if it was like 50 degrees or 55
I
degrees.
feel like it doesn't need to be, as
so cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably would be even more intense.
I think so too.
Yeah.
What food would you pair with this wine?
Well, I'm imagining that in Marche there's a lot of fish.
Yeah. I would think so.
I would think. And this I feel like this is a white, flaky fish wine. I don't know why. I'm thinking even funny enough, maybe because of the tropical flavors, but I'm imagining like mahi.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe a heavier fish, or even like a tuna or sashimi.
Right. Oh, true. But maybe you're thinking more of like a fillet
with a little bit of salt, like a little soy on it.
I could do both.
I really think we're doing our famous turkey pot pie this weekend with your brother for his Casafiore on Facebook. I think this would go really well with a turkey pot pie, like something creamy sauce. Ooh, this would do really well.
Yes.
I also think with that pie crust, like it would just that rich. This would be good with rich, buttery sauces and foods.
Yes. And talking, like you were saying before, being kind of a fall wine, you could even do like pumpkin ravioli, a squash.
This would be a really good Thanksgiving
like a gnocchi
wine. I think this would be a really good Thanksgiving wine.
Yeah, it would be very good.
Because I think with the gravy and the stuffing and that, I think it would do, and the sweet potatoes, and I think it would do really well.
Really nice, yeah. And it is very pretty, and I like the bottle. And it's a corked bottle. Or it's not corked.
It has a cork.
It has a cork.
Yeah, it's kind of nice looking.
Pretty,
yeah, it's got a nice gold label on it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's rate this wine. What do you say, Carmela?
Let's do it.
Okay, well, as a reminder, on our rating scale, all you people out there, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10, and there's no halvesies. You have to do a whole number, which makes it harder. I think it makes it harder. And a 7 or above means we're going to buy this wine, and a 4 or below means we ain't going to buy it. We're going to pour this sucker down the sink. And a 5 or a 6 means it's all right. You know, we might finish it, and we're not offended by it, but it's not really wine we're going to buy. We'll drink it. We'll drink it. Okay. So, on that note, what are you going to rate this wine?
Well, you know what? I really like it. I'm going to think about changing it down the road.
You and I are going to do the same thing.
Well, I'm going to give it a 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing the exact same thing. I kind of feel like it's probably more of an 8. I also feel like it should be a little warmer.
Yes.
And I think if it was a little bit warmer, it might have more complexity. And we might think a little bit more highly of it. It's a good wine.
It's a great wine.
It's a very good wine.
Yeah. And I think it's a crowd pleaser in the sense that I think a lot of people would enjoy it.
Totally. I would totally serve this wine. I would serve it to wine snobs. I would serve it to wine non-snobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a really, really nice wine. So this is definitely a wine we think you should buy. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's take a break and we're going to try our next Verdicchio.
Okay.
Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our next wine. This is the Garofoli. It's Supera Verdicchio di Metallica or whatever. It's from Marche, Italy. The year is 2021. That's the vintage. It's $18.99.
Okay.
And we got it at wine.com. 12.5% alcohol, so just a skosh under the last one. And as far as we know, 100% Verdicchio. And while we were on the break, Carmela said you need to smell it and give your impression of the aroma first.
Yeah.
Right?
We're going to change it up.
Why did you want me to
I just want to get your, a lot of times I say it first and it's fun to hear your first impression.
Well, this is what I say right off the bat. It's lighter colored. It doesn't...
Not too much lighter, I don't think.
A little bit.
A little bit, but...
It's also, I don't think it's quite as viscous. And it's got an interesting kind of... It's got a little fruit on it, but it almost smells like old box or something. Like it's got some weird kind of foresty... outdoorsy kind of smell. It smells wood. I smell like a weird kind of wood on it. I don't know how to explain it.
Huh. That's funny. I was getting kind of candy. I was getting...
Really?
Yeah, almost like a hard candy, like a lemon or orange.
Okay. Like one of those hard Italian candies?
Exactly. Ooh, what are those called? Peruginas.
Perugina.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lemon on the now. But there was a smell I was getting that was a little bit interesting. I can't smell it right now, but it's
when you swirl. Are you finding it changing when you swirl it?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, and now I'm getting a little bit more of that like lemon.
Yeah, I think it's a little citrusy.
Yeah, a little, but also a little appley maybe.
Okay, but a little less.
Oh, you know what I got for a second? Sorry.
What? No.
It was almost mint. I almost got like a mint smell.
Because I don't think it has those warm baking spices. It's a little lighter of a smell. Mm-hmm. I wonder if it'll taste lighter.
Well, let's taste it and see what we
try it out. It is kind of minty.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. The end of it is really minty and spicy, almost in the back of your throat. You getting that?
A little bit, yeah.
It's a really interesting menthol. I mean, it's like mentholy.
It is mentholy, yeah.
But the front of it is very fruity and appley. I think appley. Do you think more citrus and pineapple?
Well,
it's got mint or menthol on it.
It's got something mint on it, but I'm still getting a little bit more citrus on it.
On the front.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit of, it's got like a really kind of bitter front end, almost almond, like a raw almond kind of taste.
Ooh, wow.
But I was getting a little bit of like nectarine or like stone fruit.
Okay.
On the front, like almost that like peach juice or something. Like fruit cocktail juice.
Yeah. Oh, from like the cans.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the end of it is really interesting.
It's kind of lingers too.
It
Not
does.
in a bad way, but I'm tasting it. It's almost a little bit like
rosemary.
Oh wow! Well, you were getting some of that outdoor foresty wood.
I'm getting almost rosemary on the end of it.
Oh wow! Okay.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I'm not. I'm not. This your your palate is very sensitive tonight.
I'm sensitive. It's so weird.
Yeah,
it's almost
definitely unusual.
It's almost gripping this whatever this thing at the end is.
Oh, I wonder what they're going to say about it. What other
know,
people say about it?
But it's strong. Like it's a strong feeling, like you had an Altoid. You know, kind of like that Altoid taste, like in the back of your throat. It's really interesting. Not taste, but like that sensation. It's a really weird sensation. Okay, so what food would you pair with this Garofali?
Well, I don't know because I just don't know if it's going to be the same. It's not going to be a creamy wine.
It is totally going into my sinuses. Like I feel like it's menthol because it's like kind of cleaning out my sinuses.
But I'm having a hard time pinpointing a food for it too. What do you think? Because I'm not seeing it with like a cream sauce.
No, I'm thinking this is maybe a charcuterie board, like a cheese and meat kind of like first course or hors d'oeuvre kind of.
I
like
think
a pastry, like
a puff
pastry or something like that.
Right. Or even like if you were doing like a phyllo dough or some, you know.
Like with spinach and cheese.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Like an appetizer or antipasti type of, foods.
Even like little finger sandwiches or something. It's interesting. Like it's not like a, hamburger or anything, but like, like a light finger sandwich or something.
Or you could even do
cucumber sandwich.
Right, like focaccia. I think you could do.
I think so too.
You could do something.
You don't need the rosemary on it. Just leave it off.
Right.
Because you'll get it on the wine.
Right. I mean, you don't want to do a bunch of tomatoes and that kind of stuff with this wine.
I don't think so.
No, but I think you could. It would be nice with bread. Or I think you could do like a fried fish too.
Probably. Yeah, probably. But it's a really interesting, here's the thing. We're going to rate it. It's not bad. This to me is like a classic 6 rating.
I just wrote down 6.
Yeah, where it's like, I'll drink it. I will definitely drink it. And if somebody served it, I wouldn't go, ooh, why are you... I would be like happy. I'd happily drink it. It's really kind of an interesting wine. I'm not sure I'd buy it. Okay. I think that's the difference.
So you're giving it a 6.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. I'm not disappointed with it. I'm not like, this is bad. I think if I'm going to buy a Verdicchio, I'm going to buy that first one that we have.
It'll be interesting to see what the next one, how it stands up. Right, because they're all going to be very different, so it's like, I just wonder if, depending on what you're looking for a certain evening, it has such a variety of tastes so far, I feel like.
Yeah, they're different wines. They were very different wines.
You're going to choose them for different occasions, different foods. Okay.
Well, let's take a break, and we're going to try this last wine.
Okay.
Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our last wine. This is the Bucci Verdicchio Classico dei Castelli de Gesi. Also from Marche, Italy. Again, this is the 2018, so it's been aging for 5 years. It's supposed to be a wine that you should age. This was $19.99, so just on the cusp.
Wow.
Wine.com is where we bought it. 13.5% alcohol, so it's quite high for a white wine.
Quite high.
Verdicchio, 100% Verdicchio. And this is the one Decanter gave a 95, and Wine Enthusiast gave this one a 91. And I will say right off the bat, it's a lighter color, which is really interesting. Not what I expected. It is a much lighter color. It almost looks like a Sauvignon Blanc. But when you smell it, it smells like a Chardonnay, an oak Chardonnay.
Too. Yeah. For sure.
You smell the oak, like that vanilla,
right, I was just going to
oaky.
say vanilla, buttery. You can just smell it right away.
I think we've been saying this all along, but I think if you have a buttery Chardonnay fan and you serve them this, they may not know it's not a Chardonnay.
Ooh, well, we'll have to see when we taste it, though.
It's got super strong. I'm almost having trouble smelling the fruit.
Yeah, it's very oaky.
A little lemony. I can get a little bit of lemon if I try really hard. Stone fruit, like peaches or something.
Little nectarine.
And maybe it's like a skosh of like a pineapple upside down cake.
Oh, so a little sweetness on it.
A little sweetness, but also just that bready. There's something like bready or cake to it. That's what I'm smelling. Yeah. Okay, well, let's try it. I'm very curious.
Okay. Oh, wow. It's a lot.
I think it's too cold, but I like it.
How do you feel like does it have the same intensity as a Chardonnay in your mind?
It doesn't. It's complex. Like there's a lot going on in the mouth. Mm-hmm. It does. I guess it does a little bit, but I think it's. Here's what I'd say: a cheap oaky Chardonnay tastes like wood chips and vanilla and caramel, and you can almost taste nothing else except the wood chips. This has an elegance on it. Like this is sophisticated. It's balanced. It's got a balanced flavor. Mm-hmm. So I actually don't mind the oak. Like a lot of times I don't like the oak because it's overpowering.
The oak. Yeah.
And this has like balance to me. It's nice. It's not really the style of wine that I would choose, but I like it. I'm enjoying it.
It's not so heavy or bold,
right?
Or I think this has a better balance, like you were saying too. I think,
and I think if you were at an elegant dinner, this would be a really nice wine to have.
What about for like Thanksgiving?
I think you could do this for Thanksgiving for sure. It's got some bitterness on the end of it. It doesn't have a ton of fruit. I think it's a little young. Sorry, I think it's a little young.
Even though this was the 2018, huh?
Well, this is the wine they said can age for decades, and I do think this would mellow over several years. So I bet this wine would be pretty killer in about 5 more years.
Wow.
Because that's the other thing about an oaky, like a good oaky Chardonnay should age. Mm-hmm. A bad oaky Chardonnay should be thrown down the sink.
Yeah. But this definitely is not the type of wine we typically drink.
It's not.
It's pretty, I don't know if I could drink a lot of it. Not that I need to drink a lot of it anyway, but I don't know. Like this is just.
It has intensity.
It does, yeah.
Do you get on the front of this? I'm almost getting a little orangey citrus on this.
A little bit, almost like a little pith, like a little, again, a little bitterness on this.
But I'm getting like blood orange or like some sort of like a navel orange. Like I'm getting orange on the front of this. Okay. It's a really good wine. It's very complex. This is a wine, like a white wine. This is sort of a big, bold white wine, but without being outrageous. That's what I would say. It's a sophisticated and balanced oaky white wine.
Ooh. What are you going to eat with this?
This one, I do think you could do Thanksgiving dinner. I think this is a wine you definitely do with seafood, but I'm thinking like a spaghetti with clam sauce.
I was going to say the same thing. Or shrimp. I think this
shrimp
would go really
would be great.
Nice
Grilled
with like a buttery,
shrimp or buttery.
Yes.
But lobster would go really well with chicken. Like a lot of chicken dishes, but like creamy chicken piccata.
Pot pie with this.
You could, but I think you'd almost be wasting it. I think that you need to have something like that you really would enjoy, like really want to savor. I think this would be really good with sushi.
Ooh.
I think this would be really, really good with sushi.
Yeah.
I think it would be excellent. Yeah, something more complex, like curries. I think seafood curries would be really good. I think an octopus salad would be really good with this.
How about spicy food? Since you're
I don't. Oak and spice doesn't really, to me, like hot. I'm talking about hot spicy.
Right.
I think oakiness and spiciness clash a bit.
Okay.
And I think especially, and this one's pretty high in alcohol. Mm-hmm. And I think you need something a little bit lighter in alcohol because remember we talked about this when we were doing the Thai food. Like spiciness is the key, and a high alcohol wine is going to make it really spicy.
Right.
And I think that's what happened. You would have too much spice on it. It would almost be overpowering. But what about you? I do like. It's a sophisticated wine. Yeah. Like again, it's not the style of white wine I would normally have, but it's a pretty good wine.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah. Huh. So what are you gonna rate it?
I'm gonna give it. I'm not loving it. I think like you. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Okay. I'm giving this one an 8.
Wow.
I think it's a really good wine. I actually think I might give the Velenosi an 8 as well, but for different reasons. Like that one is so like warm and fruity and it's more of a crowd pleaser. Mm-hmm. I think this is more of a sophisticated wine. I think a more sophisticated wine like critic might give this one a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Because I think it's really a rich, complex wine. But anyway, I think it's very good. So I'm definitely giving it an 8.
Okay.
And anyway, I'll stop talking. So which of these wines are you, I think I know, which one are you finishing tonight?
I like the first one.
Yeah.
For
the
Velenosi.
Velenosi.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would probably drink that one first.
Because of me?
Yes. But I think this last one, the Bucci, it would be more of like, I want to sit and contemplate it and think about it for a while. So, I might give it to you for that.
Okay. I'll take it.
Okay, should we talk about the taste profiles expected from a Verdicchio?
We should.
Should we call it a Verdicchio?
Oh my God.
A Verdicchio.
Did somebody say it that?
I say
that way to you,
Verdicchio.
and now, okay.
Forbes says aromas of melon, pear, citrus, and white flowers. Okay. And a lively acidity, salty notes with minerality and almond bitterness.
Okay.
The Velenosi, the winery says the nose shows floral notes of honey fruits such as apple and peach.
That's interesting.
And hints of fresh cut grass. On the palate, it's fresh, well structured. Natalie McLean, which is a Canadian magazine, says fresh, fragrant with almond nut, peach, lime zest, loads of apple, citrus zest, spicy and briny mineral flavors. Eye-winking zesty on the palate. And Vinia said blends almond paste with a dusting of confectioner's sugar, pretty notes of peach and candied lime. Didn't we get lime? Mm-hmm. Ripe orchard fruits, salty mineral, citrus tinged acids. Finishes spicy.
Okay.
With a cheek puckering sensation.
Interesting.
This is what they say about the Garofoli. This is Triangle Wine Company. Rich and ample, teams with notes of lemon oil, pear, tangerine zest, and sweet almond.
No mint?
Segues to herbal notes on the finish.
Herbal.
Fresh ginger, fresh fennel, and lip dusting minerals.
Okay, so fennel is very licoricey, but it does have a bit of that menthol taste to
For sure.
it, I think.
And Wine Feed says teeming with notes of lemon peel, yellow apple, quince, and dried tarragon. Then the Bucci, this is what Decanter says. Juicy freshness, salty licorice, that's good. And a long mineral finish. Wine Enthusiast says delicately scented, offers aromas of spring blossom and white stone fruit. Round and medium bodied, the palate doles out ripe Bartlett pear, white peach, and a hint of baking spice.
Oh.
So there you go.
Okay, interesting.
So we got some different flavors. Nobody got the menthol.
No, but I do think that fennel, some of those herbal fennel notes could be what we were tasting.
And I was getting a little almond, a little nuttiness, that raw almond kind of
sure.
taste. So there you go. But what do you think? Is Verdicchio a new go-to?
Well, I think it's the type or the one that you
I agree.
choose.
I agree.
They're very different. We have 3 very different ones, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't find that much variety, I think, in a type of wine.
I mean, I think the only one that you get this variety in really is a Chardonnay, like if it's oaked or unoaked and where does it come from. So I think for us, the wine that we would choose is the Velenosi because we prefer a fruity, acidic, dry
wine. It would keep
wine.
us both happy.
Exactly. Well, Carmela, it's just about time for us to go, you know.
Yeah.
But before we do, we want to thank you all very much for listening to us. And now would be a great time to subscribe to the podcast and a really great time to leave a nice rating and review on our website or Apple Podcasts or Spotify or other podcast service. And that would be awesome. And we would really appreciate it. And we'd love to hear from you. So you can go to our website and leave us a message at thewinepairpodcast.com. And you can join our email newsletter there. And you can also send us an email at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. And we would love to hear from you again. And you can follow us on Instagram at The Wine Pair Podcast. But with that, we're going to sign off. And we're going to say thank you once again. We're going to say if you're listening to this before Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. And if you're listening to it after Thanksgiving,
happy holidays.
Happy holidays. And as we like to say, life is short. So stop drinking shitty Verdicchio wine. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
And the happy ending at the end of our story. Always think too much, always drink too much, always pray too much, always play too much. And when I'm with you too much, I fall in love too much. And when I'm away too much,